Today we are in Southern California getting a first look at the latest iteration of YT's TUES downhill bike before it's unveiled and raced this weekend in Fort William. The TUES model has existed in YT's product line for over a decade and has a very decorated past. From Fest Series events to winning Red Bull Rampage to multiple World Cup wins and overall titles, it's always been a bike that performs and appeals to a broad array of riders. With that said, it has been a few years since the TUES got a refresh, but we knew something was coming after seeing a few of YT's riders riding a covered bike the past few months. So today, the cover is coming off, and we are going to learn all about the new TUES. So many numbers in my head right now. Adjustability is one of the biggest differences with the new TUES, so let's run through what some of those changes are that you have at your disposal. So we have 5mm difference chainstay length that you can change. Right now it's in the long setting. You have a adjustment to do 29 or mixed wheels, and then you also have a flip chip in the lower shock mount, and that's going to drop the bottom bracket by 5 mils, slacken out your head tube angle by 0.3 degrees, so you go from 62.5 to, is that right?
63.
63.5
to 63.2.
Did you hear that? Say it one more time.
63.5 to 63.2.
There's your adjustments. Another bike wing shot. Where should I hook this?
30.
Is it moving?
710. 37.9. 37.10.
Okay, we'll call it 37.10. I've only done one run, but we're gonna run through some more details of the bike as I do laps. I can kind of understand what it is I'm actually riding here. So I have Tanner with me from YT North America. Tanner, just run me through kind of the main things that stand out about this bike that you guys are excited about and people should know about.
Sure. So big things is the new TUES was very race focused, so we wanted to include a lot of adjustability in the bike for that. So as Jason pointed out, we have 3 main points here. So a big one here that's new is a big flip link here. So bikes will ship, depending on size, small to medium will ship as a mullet bike. Large to XXL will ship as a 29er. But aftermarket, if you want to buy an aftermarket wheel, we can just flip those there, and you can go from MX to 29 or vice versa, no matter what frame size you get. Something we have on a lot of our other bikes that's new to the TUES is the shock flip right there. So that one will give you a lower bottom bracket. It's by 5mm, and that'll change seat tube and head tube by 0.3mm. And then chainstay adjustment is a new one as well. So you can go long or short. Long obviously just provides a more stable wheelbase. Short, a little bit more playful bike. So that'll shorten or lengthen the chainstay by 5mm on there as well.
Sweet. The previous TUES, how did you guys do your sizing, and then how does this one differ?
Yeah, so previous in the 29er at least was a regular long and extra long sizing. This one will go back to a standard sizing offered in size small all the way up to XXL.
Okay, sweet. So TUES is still using your guys' virtual 4-link suspension design. Maybe just run us through why you guys stuck with that versus going with something different.
Yeah, so we stuck with the V4L there because we believe it doesn't impact the rear end length through the travel, whereas a high pivot system could potentially stretch the rear end and redistribute your weight over the rear wheel. So we stuck with V4L for that reason.
Sweet. I mean, and I think too, something if you guys have a design that's tried and true,
yep,
why change it drastically?
Correct, yeah, and as you can see throughout the bike, there's not a lot of visual changes, so we knew we had a pretty good bike to start with and kind of refined it from there versus just a bunch of big changes. So
the TUES in the past has been a bike that people will get to ride bike parks, they'll go racing on, they'll go want to hit jumps on. But this thing feels pretty race focused. Is that more the idea behind it?
Yeah, correct. So the mission when designing the new bike was heavily focused around racing. basically from the beginning, working with the mob and everyone on the race team to kind of build a better, faster bike. The previous bike, as you mentioned, already has a couple World Cup wins and World Cup titles on it. So we just wanted to kind of refine that and kind of put more focus on the racing scene. Not to say that you can't take it to a bike park, especially with the MX wheel swap. If you're like a bike park guy looking to hit jumps, it's still a really great bike for that. And then I guess we'll have to wait and see if we do a full 27.5 version or what comes from there. But as far as the Mark IV's main focus was built around racing.
Sweet. I'm riding a carbon bike right now. Is it going to be offered in aluminum, or is it just coming in carbon to start with?
So Mark IV is going to be a carbon frame only to start with, and 2 build specs. So you're currently on the Core 4 build spec, our highest end build spec at launch. So Core 4 spec will come in at $59.99, and then the Core 2 spec will come in at $39.99. Core 2 is going to be the same frame, just a lower parts spec on there. Both available from May 2nd to order. All right, a couple other details on the frame here. From a mechanic standpoint or just a consumer looking for replacement parts, we did offer replacement frame bumpers on there. It does have a replaceable shock mount hardware, and then all of our frame protection is replaceable from the down tube to the seat stay, and we've updated our chainstay to a ribbed version instead of the previous flat version for better sound absorption. Something we always strive for is a pretty quiet bike, and I think we've hit the nail on the head with this one here. So
I've only done 3 laps so far. I rode the bike how it comes with dual 2.9 because I'm riding a size large, and with adjustability being a big thing at the new TUES, figured I might as well play around with some stuff while we're out here today. So we just changed the flip chip in the lower shock mount. Bike comes in the lower slacker position, so this will bring the bottom bracket up a little bit, pull the front wheel in just slightly. So just trying it out, not really for any real reason other than it's an option that exists there. The bike so far has been very easy to get it on and just be confident and ride fast. I would say my weight transfer on the bike is really good. I feel nice and centered on it. It's real obvious on the super high speed ridge section on the trail we're riding. There's like a little step down jump. It's an obvious spot if you aren't feeling comfortable on a bike. And yeah, just feel like my weight is sitting comfortably over the bike. Other than that, like, feels like something a lot of people get on and go very quick on and feel nice and comfy. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if I notice a difference with this little adjustment. I think most people will still trend towards riding this bike in that low setting because it caters towards that fast, responsive, kind of racy feel that it's going for. Cool, so I just did a lap with the shock position in the high setting, and more than I thought so. There was a little bit of a difference, kind of what you'd expect with raising your bottom bracket a little bit. Just the bike felt a little bit more responsive to my rider input on the flatter sections, which was pretty cool. And then on the steeper lower bit of that trail, struggled a little bit more to just get the bike to settle into the ground when I was braking. Just rode a little bit taller. I think earlier I said that I thought the low positions of the bike as I was riding it first was what I thought people might ride it in more. I almost think this position could be really popular with people. I think for your more everyday rider who's getting a downhill bike, like you're shuttling with your friends, you're riding a bike park that maybe has mixed trails, they're not all vertical steep, it's a pretty good setup. I think the key is that the difference is small, it's marginal. You saw how quick and easy it was for us to swap it, so if you get this bike, it's definitely worth trying out. So the last thing we haven't adjusted on this is just trying the mixed MX wheel setup. So I'm gonna go and have them swap that out so you can kind of see what's involved with that, and then do a lap on it, see how it goes. Yeah, dirt bike, MX, mullet setup. I'm not the candidate for this personally. I like dual 2.9. I would say that this setup felt the most similar from a BB height positioning to the original setup I rode, the dual 2.9 in the low position. Other than that, it felt kind of what you'd expect, putting a smaller wheel in the back, a little bit more maneuverable, whips around corners nice. You lose a little bit of that stability at speed, but that's what you're into. It's cool that you now have that option to pretty easily swap between the two. Alrighty, we just wrapped up a full day of riding on the new TUES. Give you some overall impressions of what stands out from doing a few laps today. With this only being one day on the bike, take everything I say with a little bit of a grain of salt because I only got, I think, 6 laps on it. Some of the key things that stand out to me is it's really stable. It's a bike that put my body weight really centered just between the wheels. Easy to move my weight around. As I change between the different setups, I got different things out of it, which I think is really cool. Sometimes adjustments on bikes don't really provide that significant of a change. It is a fairly stiff frame. That can be really good in a lot of situations. It makes the bike highly responsive and active. It's a bike that I found I had to ride pretty deliberate with my line choice. So if you're not riding that way, it can remind you of that. Maybe the only thing that I kept thinking about throughout the day was it makes a little bit of a thud noise hitting bumps. I know there was some extra work done to silence this bike with the new chainstay protectors. It is a quiet bike, but on some of those really harsh square edge hits was maybe a little bit more noise than I was expecting to hear. And I think just the main thing is that this feels like a very refined, not redesigned version of this bike. You get a bunch of adjustability. You're still getting a highly capable downhill bike, something that I think will still appeal to a broad array of riders. If you want to go ride bike park laps, want to go shuttle with your friends, or you're looking to be competitive racing, you can set this up to match your terrain or your riding style. Well, that concludes our day on the new TUES. Let us know in the comments below what you think of the bike. Make sure to tune into the World Cup this weekend and the rest of the season to see how the YT Mob gets along with this new machine. And for more mountain bike news and reviews, you can head to vitalmtb.com.